Behavioural economics on a post-it number 11. Regret theory. In previous sort of post-it notes, I sort of highlighted that in standard economic theory, it assumes, and standard rational choice theory, it assumes that people place a value, a sort of psychological value, upon, you know, any good or service that they're considering, and that other goods and services cannot influence or impact upon the psychological value that people place upon that particular good or service. So essentially that's where, you know, that's what the independence axiom that we've talked about, the independence assumption applies. The value that people attach to particular things is independent of the value of other things. That's partly what independence implies. Now, two British economists, Robert Sugden and Graham Looms, developed regret theory sort of 40 years ago now, to try to explain, I suppose theorise, why that assumption of independence often falls down in particular contexts. And they said that when people are considering a particular option or a good or service, particular option, they anticipate their feelings around choosing that option when there's a possibility that some other option could have given a different type of outcome, and that can lead to either feelings of what's called anticipated regret. You know, you're sort of regretful that you chose the particular. You anticipate that you might be regretful of the outcomes from the options that you've chosen, or anticipated rejoice. You know, you might feel good. You might anticipate feeling good about the outcomes that the option you chose produces. Because of your comparisons with what could have happened elsewhere. So I'll just illustrate this with a sort of hypothetical example that might sort of ring true in your daily lives, perhaps. So imagine you're in a supermarket and you are approaching the checkout counter. You want to pay for your goods. And there's two counters. I've said here counter A and counter B, where you could go and pay for your goods. You look at counter A and there's a queue. There's a queue for both counters, actually. The queue for counter A is shorter than for counter B. So each of these little circles is an individual person, right? But the queuing for counter B appears to be moving much quicker. So, you know, standard economic theory would assume that you place kind of an expected utility or a value, a subjective value upon these scenarios, and you go for the one that gives you greater expected utility, the one that you value the most, subjectively value the most, that you join that queue. So imagine that you do that and you think, okay, B's moving really quickly. I value joining B slightly more than joining. I'm going to join B. I'm going to join the end of B because I anticipate that this queue is going to go down really quickly, right? But then you think to yourself, okay, what happens if I join B, but then QA starts moving quicker? I anticipate that if that happens, I'll feel a degree of regret in joining B. I might be in the queue for B much longer than I would have been for A if A starts moving more quickly. So your considerations of what might happen in A then modifies the utility or modifies the value that you place upon joining Q for counter B because of these potentially anticipated feelings of regret, right? So that anticipation might then lead you to perhaps join the queue for counter A instead. So considerations of what can happen in a different option can modify the utility that you place, or the value that you place, upon the option that you were initially thinking about choosing. That's not allowed in standard economic theory, right? These considerations of what might happen elsewhere cannot modify the value that you place upon any particular option that you're considering, right? And that's all I've seen there. That's all I've said there, really. So the anticipated regret of what might happen in A can modify the utility of B, right? That violates, as I've said there, that violates standard rational choice theory, regret theory.